Before you ever entered media, you're on a full ride scholarship. Your knee blows up. Your mom's insurance is such that in order for you to be able to rehab it, you need to leave college to come back to New York. The conversation when you get back to college with Mr. Heinzman, what do you remember from that?
Everything. I was gone for a semester, and my mother's insurance wouldn't cover me, so I had to leave school. By this time, I had my college sweetheart in my life.
Michelle.
Yes, Michelle. I loved, my basketball, my boys, Mark, Ski, Boris, and the whole crew. I just loved them. I loved being around them. And so I was heartbroken that I had to leave school. And I go back home. I rehab. I take summer courses as well, because I wasn't going back to school until late August. And in doing so, I ultimately come back and I see Mr. Heinzman. I go looking for Mr. Heinzman. And Mr. Heinzman was with somebody, and I'm smiling, I'm looking happy to see him in the whole bit. He had this frown on his face, and he always wore this perpetual smile. And on this particular day, when I saw him for the first time in like 8 months, he was not smiling at all. And I asked to shake his hand. I extended my hand. He wouldn't shake my hand. And it was right in front of a couple of other people, which was totally unlike him. And he had to leave. I said, Mr. Heinzman, what's the matter? He says, I have nothing to say to you, and walked away from me. And it blew me away. And it was on a morning. And because of my dealings with him in the past, I knew that they had gotten off like 6 o'clock or whatever. I showed up there at 4:30, and I waited outside, and I would not leave until he came out. I knew what his car looked like. I waited right there for him. And he came outside, and he was like, what do you want? I said, what is the matter? Why are you treating me this way? He said, you really don't know what you've done. He said, you just leave. You just leave, and you go away from school. So it wasn't supposed to be about basketball. It was supposed to be about everything else, and you just left? And I said, I was heartbroken and everything. He said, I had an academic scholarship waiting for you. He said, I called, you didn't answer. And I had to end up giving the scholarship to somebody else. He said, I thought you told me you were about more than basketball. I thought you told me you were about more than just athletics. He said, all of this noise you gave me, but the second that you knew that basketball was being taken away from you, you gave up on life. He said, you're a liar. You can't be trusted. And he said, I don't know how to feel about you. And I actually started crying in front of him. And I'm telling you right now, I can count the amount of times in my life I've cried. And I can count them on one hand. I don't cry much, but I actually started crying in front of him because it really, really hurt right here, what he was saying. He was like, you let me down. You're a liar. That's how I'm looking at you. It's the closest that I ever came in my life to begging anybody for anything. And I begged him to forgive me and told him I would make it up to him. And he said to me, you want to make it up to me? Then do what the hell you said you was gonna do and be about more than basketball. Show me what you gonna do. And I like, you got it. And I had to make up for that.
And make up you did. But I wonder, what did the column you wrote about Coach Gaines teach you?
Every truth ain't meant to be told.
How so?
I was on a basketball team and I wrote a column about the coach needing to retire. But it wasn't about me not getting enough playing time or anything.
Yeah.
It was about his health, because he had some ailment. I don't know whether it was cerebral palsy or whatever. I don't know what it was, but he would wear a patch over his eye. And he was prone to catching mild strokes. And I was afraid he was going to die on the sidelines. And so me writing for the school newspaper, I went into his office and I said, what are you doing? You know, I love you. You've been like a father to me. You're going to kill yourself. And I said, you know, you need to step away from this. And he was like, shut the f up. You know, who the hell are you to tell me anything? I said, well, let me tell you something. If you don't sit by and do nothing, then I'm going to write an article saying you need to retire. Like, f you. Go ahead and do your damn article. Give a shit. Right? And that's what he said to me. That's how he would talk to us, you know? Which is why, you know, in this PC world that we live in, it's like, what world were y'all living in? I mean, we got cussed out on the regular, you know? I mean, what are you talking about? You know, so he was, he just let me, he said, just go ahead, do what you gonna do. I said, I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it now. And he was like, go ahead, kiss my ass, get the hell out of my office, whatever else he said. And I went and I wrote the article that he needed to retire. And so you had people that were absolutely positively appalled that I wrote it. You had a chancellor who won't admit that he tried to get me expelled. He was going to expel me.
Really?
He was going to expel me. Now, years later, they asked him about it. He said, I don't recall, whatever. He was going to expel me from Winston-Salem State, okay? And Coach Gaines stopped him. He said, he wants to be a journalist. He came in here. He told me what he was going to do, and he told me why. Leave him alone. And that was the only reason that I was able to stay at Winston-Salem and graduate. Because I didn't realize it was going to be that kind of reaction where they wanted me thrown out of school. But there was people that wanted me out of there. And Coach Gaines stopped them.